What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Sports Talk with Brodes. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at SportsandBrodes, which will allow you to see when my latest episodes are released. Or you can send in your sports point. You can call into the show using your voice recording app on your cell phone and sending it to sportsandbrodes@gmail.com. It was a bye week for my Eagles. It was kind of weird. I told myself, to an extent, hey, maybe you can just kick back this weekend. You don't really need to watch that much football. What did I do? I watched Red Zone all day long. It was double XP on Call of Duty. I played some Search and Destroy. I had 2 TV set up. I had my Red Zone. I had Call of Duty. And I was watching football all day long. And I told myself, you know what, maybe this will be a good week to just kind of kick back and not focus so much. I can't. I don't know how to do that. Let's be real. So, I'm just going to go around the league and pretty much discuss what I missed, what I watched on Sunday. So, to start off, we had Thursday night game. Seattle beats the Cardinals, but they lose a key piece like Richard Sherman to a bursted Achilles. This is horrible news for the NFL. I mean, he's their passion. He's their motivation and energy guy, of course. Everyone knows that. He's in the NFC, though. And, I'm not saying that this is a great thing because I don't wish injury upon any athlete, no matter the team, no matter what team, Cowboys, nothing. I don't want injuries to happen to great players. But it happens. And it doesn't hurt the Eagles that someone like Richard Sherman goes down. It only helps their chances for this year for the Super Bowl run. I will get into this NFC after I discuss this past Sunday. Sunday, 1 o'clock games. The Saints destroy the Bills 47-10. An NFC team that I'm a little bit nervous about. Drew Brees, 184 yards. He had a rushing touchdown, which was weird to see. They were running the ball. Ingram with 131 yards and 3 touchdowns. They had a total of 6 rushing touchdowns. So, hey, as an Eagles fan, we know we have our strong defense that can stop the run. We know that. But I'm just saying, clearly, that's a lot of yards. They ran for 298 yards and had 6 touchdowns. That's no joke. And on a Bills defense, too. The Packers get their first W without Aaron Rodgers. They defeat the Bears 23-16. And in this game, there was a play where I'm not sure which back was running the ball for the Bears, but he leaped for the end zone and, he hit the pylon before he went out of bounds. So their coach challenges the play that it was a touchdown. The ball reached the line before he got out of bounds. Well, what ended up happening was in super, super, super slow motion, you can see that he lost control of the ball as it was going through the end zone. And when it went out of bounds, it technically was a touchback. So instead of, you had 3 options there. You could either be down at the 1-yard line, not challenge it, and just rush the ball in. You can challenge the play, which, you don't know that this is going to happen in super slow-mo, that they're going to throw the ball to the Packers for the situation. You don't know that this is going to happen. So you obviously challenge the play. I don't mind the challenge because you don't know what's going to happen at the 1-yard line. You might not be able to get in. And for you as a head coach to think you got the touchdown on that play, you have to challenge it. So your options were be down at the 1 and try and run it in. Challenge the play because you thought it was a touchdown. Or your third option was touchback, and now Green Bay has the ball. I've never seen anything like it. It's crazy that slow motion that we have today really does screw up what replay was actually meant for. That's just my personal opinion. So, yeah, Green Bay ends up winning 23-16. Brett Hundley had 212 yards, 18 of 25, and 1 touchdown. Now, I was listening to Philly Sports Radio over the weekend, and they do an over-under. And since the Eagles weren't playing, they did over-under for other things out the league. And one of them was Trubisky going to throw over 170 yards? And I'm thinking, obviously. I mean, there's no way he's not going to throw over 170 yards. And the caller actually took the under, which I was very surprised. I'm thinking, why are you doing that? He ends up throwing for 297 yards. I mean, come on. I thought that was pretty easy. Next game on the list, we have Browns-Lions. And at one point, I truly believed that this was going to be the game for the Lions. I mean, they had the score. I'm sorry, the game for the Browns. At one point, they were up 24-14. They were up 10 points at one point in this game. Double-digit lead, which was the first time all season. But obviously, being the Browns, they lose. They lose 38-24. And at the end of the half, this is so Browns, it hurts. So Browns. At the end of the half, there was, say 20 seconds left on the clock. DeShone Kizer from the 4-yard line. They're going for it. There was a little less than 20 seconds, by the way, because they didn't have enough time at the end here to obviously kick the field goal. They go for a QB sneak from the 4-yard line, don't get in, and then they don't have enough time to spike the ball and get the field goal. They end up with 0 points. Now, it looked like Duke Johnson was really pissed off at the end of the play. Maybe something occurred where they were not on the same page. They didn't mean to run the QB sneak, but DeShone Kizer messed something up. The snap count was wrong, and he got confused. I'm not sure what happened, but there's no way in that circumstance you're not, one, throwing the football because you realize if you don't get it, the clock is going to stop. You need that to happen. You need to stop the clock. So you got to throw it there. But Duke Johnson was pissed, so maybe they're going to try and run the ball with him. There were no timeouts left. It just screams Browns all the way. And they're the only team in football at this point that does not have a win. They're 0-9. The Steelers end up squeaking away with a late field goal to win 20-17. The only time they led all game long was with 0 seconds left. Roethlisberger, 236 yards, 2 touchdowns. Le'Veon Bell ran for 80 yards. Not much from Antonio Brown, 47. Juju with 97. The Jaguars and the Chargers go into an overtime game. The Chargers end up falling again. 20-17 was the score. That game was kind of boring for me. There were some, great defensive plays throughout the game. Some interceptions, especially in overtime. They picked up the ball and ran it down to the 1-yard line, which sealed them the deal. But that was just one of those games on Red Zone where it kind of was just boring, to be honest with you. Wasn't much action for me. And same with the next one, Buccaneers, Jets. The Buccaneers win a game 15-10. Fitzpatrick was in. Jameis Winston was not. Just another kind of boring game. McCown for 262 yards. Buccaneers end up getting the win on that one. Titans, Bengals. Burfict gets kicked out of a game for touching an official. Now, if it was anybody else, it would have never happened, and that's just the truth. The score was 24-10. It would never happen. I don't like that. Just another game that didn't really catch my attention. There were clearly other games going on at that time that were a little bit more exciting, but also, I don't follow those teams to that extent. I mean, I follow all of the NFL, obviously, but Titans-Bengals doesn't really do much for me, as an Eagles fan. Vikings-Redskins. This was a phenomenal football game. The final score was 38-30. Minnesota improves to 7-2. Now, I don't want to get to this NFC topic until we go through the rest of the game so you know how the NFC is being played out. Case Keenum, 304 yards, 4 touchdowns. Sheesh. Who would have thought he would step in and do what he did? Minnesota receiving. Phenomenal on the day. One man had 166 yards on 8 receptions and a touchdown. He had himself a day. I don't know why I blanked out on the name there. That was Thielen. He had himself one hell of a football game. So, yes, the Vikings improved to 7-2. The Rams beat the Texans 33-7. Another NFC team. Goff starting to play like the first overall pick. 355 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. Todd Gurley continuing to run the football. The Falcons beat the Cowboys. Now, Zeke has not been able to play. It's in effect. At this point, the man is sitting out his suspension, so he did not get to play. 27-7 was the score. Now, obviously, I am not mad that the Cowboys lost. The Falcons improved to 5-4. The Cowboys they fell to 5-4. Matt Ryan, 215 yards. Nothing overwhelming. Devontae Freeman leaves the game with a concussion. So that's huge. I mean, that's their number one back. Coleman stepped in. He had 83 yards on 20 carries and a touchdown. The Cowboys, Dak Prescott had 176 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. The amount of times that man got sacked was unbelievable. Adrian Claiborne had 6 sacks. I mean, think about the Cowboys' front line. Think about the Eagles' defensive line. If you're going to let that man get 6 sacks, let's talk about a rested Eagles defensive line coming off of a bye week. That's all I'm going to say there. The Giants lose to the 49ers, who get their first W of the year to improve to 1-8. Sean Lee is out on that football team, by the way, for the Dallas Cowboys. I forgot to mention that. Sean Lee is out. He is injured. And going back to that 49ers game, Goodwin scores a touchdown. He plays a game very emotional. He just lost a child. He lost a child. He goes out there, scores a touchdown, cries, gets very emotional. And, that's very upsetting. I couldn't even imagine that feeling. And to go out there and play, apparently he learned about this 3 hours before the football game. So he still goes out there and then he scores a touchdown. I can only imagine how upsetting that really could be. But yeah, they beat the Giants. Ben McAdoo has clearly lost his team. A bunch of players came out and said that Ben McAdoo has lost the team. I was listening to sports radio on the way here, CBS Sports Radio, and one of the things someone called in and said is they don't think that they're going to fire Ben McAdoo. Are they going to let him play out the season? I think so, but they think he might actually sign again. If the Giants sign this man for another year, that is the dumbest thing you could possibly do. He lost the team, and I get it. You want to give the guy a chance. You don't want to make it seem like you made the wrong decision by hiring him. You made the wrong decision by hiring him. I mean, that's just the truth. So now breaking down the NFC. What I wanted to discuss, and, I clearly have talked in the past about how excited I am, how it's a new year. I think the Eagles are going to do it this year, and I'm trying to stay positive on that. But looking at some of these squads, I'm nervous. And that's just the truth. And I'm not nervous because I don't think we have a team that is capable of doing it. I definitely believe we have a team that is capable of doing this. But there are also a lot of other teams that are capable of doing this. And a few weeks back, I didn't see it to this extent. But, I mean, you're looking at a 7-2 Saints team who are winning football games. 7 in a row. They're getting the job done. They're putting up a lot of points. The Rams, 7-2. I mentioned this last time, but here they are again, and they're putting up a lot of points. And they're scary good. I mean, that's just the truth. Minnesota, 7-2. They have a great defense. Case Keenum is playing amazing. I still can't believe I'm saying that. It doesn't even feel right coming out of my mouth. But I am a little bit afraid. And let's not talk about on the other side. There's still teams that, a New England team that is doing what they do early on. Everyone's saying, oh, this is a different team this year. They don't have what it takes. I sat back and I realized this happens all the time. This is something that is not new for the New England Patriots. Here they go, 7-2, starting to win games. They're figuring out their defense isn't trash anymore like they were the first 2 weeks. I mean, it's the same story. So clearly it's going to be a scary New England Patriots team. My teammate, who I've mentioned before, clearly a huge New England fan, he keeps saying he wants to watch the game with me if it's the Super Bowl with the Eagles and the Patriots. I won't watch it with him. I will not watch it with him. I'm going to lock myself in my room. I'm going to watch it on my TV, and I'm not going to be near anybody because I won't be able to do it. I won't be able to watch it. I mean, we got to get through these teams. That's the point of this segment here. There's a lot of football left. I think having the home field advantage going into these playoffs, having a bye, it's huge. So we have to continue to do this. So our next step is Eagles, Sunday night, 8:30 in Dallas. And I'm stoked. I cannot wait to watch it. Sadly, I have a game on Sunday, which is not normal. Not normal at all. Friday, Saturdays is the normal college hockey schedule. We play Friday, Sunday, and Sunday's away. But I have it set up. I have it ready to go. I will be watching it on my NBC Sports app on the bus ride home. It's going to happen. I will watch this football game. I will not be stopped. Our hockey team at this point is 4-0-1, which is very solid. And we have a huge weekend lined up. The team we play on Sunday is actually ranked top 10 in the country. So, if we have another great weekend here, we can be looking at some national attention here for the rankings for D3 hockey, which is awesome. We have a great team this year, and I'm excited to see where this goes. So that is the NFL segment that we got going on today. There was obviously a huge college football week that occurred as well. Number 9 Washington fell on Friday night to Stanford, 30-22. You had Oklahoma State and Iowa State, 15-21, go into a huge shootout. Oklahoma State's end up winning 49-42. And how about this? Ohio State destroys Michigan State 48-3. A 12-13 matchup. JT Barrett, 183 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So Ohio State making a statement there on the 12th ranked Michigan State. Georgia Tech beats 17th-ranked Virginia Tech, upset 28-22. Auburn destroys number 1 ranked Georgia, 40-17. It wasn't even close. That's what you get for disrespecting Bama. You can't live up to the hype. 40-17. It wasn't even close, though. Georgia gets their number 1 ranked stripped of them the first week. But on the other side, praising the Bama train, they escaped. 31-24. They beat Mississippi State with 2 extremely late touchdowns in the fourth quarter. With 9 minutes and 49 seconds left, they tie it on a 14-yard run by Harris. And then with 25 seconds left, Devontae Smith with a 26-yard pass from Jalen Hurts to give them the 31-24 lead. But hey, you know what? They get the job done. They do what they needed to do. They needed to win the football game, and that's what they did. Clemson escapes a Florida State game 31-14. Wisconsin with another W, 34-14 against Iowa. The Badgers are 10-0. How's that going to work for them? A number 5 ranked Oklahoma team with a demanding 38-20 win over 6 TCU. Great matchups this week. It really was a great week of college football. And then another huge talk of the week was Miami dominating Notre Dame 41-8, getting themselves realistically, in the top 4 for the playoff. That turnover chain on the sideline is one of the greatest things I've ever seen. I love it. I absolutely love it. It gives the defense something to play for. I think it's beautiful. The fans get hyped for it. The players get hyped for it. The coaches get hyped for it. It's awesome. So we will see what happens for this playoff for this upcoming week. Only a couple weeks left of that college football. And here we go with college hoops. It's back, and it's beautiful. And so there were some, easier games going on the first 2 days. Tuesday night is beautiful. And it's awesome, and I'm so excited for it. So what we have on Tuesday night on ESPN is Duke, number 1, versus Michigan State, number 2. How are we getting that the first big games of the week? That's so awesome. I'm so happy. For some reason, I'm always drawn to Michigan State. I love Michigan State when it comes to basketball. I love Tom Izzo. I would take a charge for Tom Izzo. I would want to play for Tom Izzo. He is the man that I would choose to play my college hoops for if I had every opportunity in the world. Something about that man. And they're getting high praise in here. I mean, Bridges comes back for another season, which was huge. See, with college hoops, there's so many players. I normally it takes me like a week of college hoops to realize how great all the incoming freshmen are. But they nailed another huge recruit this year. I forget his name off the top of my head at this moment. But Duke also has Marvin Bagley III, who is a top prospect who dropped an obnoxious amount of points his first game. He's averaging 25 points per game. They were playing some nobody team, and they praised how many points he dropped, and this team I never even heard of. So, he's getting some high praise, but we'll see how he matches up against the number 2 team, but that's not all. After that game, you have Kansas playing Kentucky. A 5 versus 4 in Kansas. Bill Self, Coach Cal. These are the games that make college basketball truly special and what it is. So I can't wait to see the top prospects in the nation play on Tuesday night. I can start learning a little bit about them, and we'll continue to watch. College basketball and football are like they go hand in hand with me on top of the list. I can't choose. I mean, I think football does have a little bit of an edge. Don't get me wrong, but college hoops is so close. It's 1A, 1B. College hoops is amazing. I love their work ethic. It's a little bit more than the NBA. They're playing, it's just different. They're playing for their coach. Not that the NBA doesn't. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to make it seem like that at all. I just feel like the environment's different. You have young college athletes. You have guys that are just straight up hustlers and grinders out there, like a TJ McConnell. You see more of them out there in the college basketball, I feel. So I'm just excited for Tuesday night. I'm going to sit back, relax, watch both games fully, have the notepad out. And let's go a little bit of Sixers, because this happened last week, but I haven't had a chance to talk about it. They lost a devastating game against Sacramento. And they had a lead with a minute left, and they blew it. And they lost 109-108. Because De'Aaron Fox hits a little Jimmy mid-range with about 20 seconds left to take the lead by 1. But it just can't happen. And Embiid's getting his shot swatted by Willie Cauley-Stein. The man has stuff to learn. He does. He's new to the game. Let's be real. He hasn't been playing his whole entire life. He's just a big dominant force. But he has to learn that way. He has to realize time management on the clock as well. He's got to learn when to pull up late in games. I feel like he's got some stuff to learn, Joel Embiid. Brett Brown did not use his timeout with 11 seconds left, and we were dribbling up the floor. He didn't draw up the play. He stood by his decision to not draw up a play. He said, we have a set play to do it, and it just didn't work out. But it hurts. It hurts These are games we need to win. We fall to 6-6. We have to continue to keep winning. I know we're young. I knew before the season was going to start that there was going to be learning curves, and I get it. But that's unexcusable, and I feel like it falls on the coach. That's why I'm a little bit more devastated. It fell on the coach, not the players. To an extent. You got to call a timeout there. I don't understand how you don't. I don't even study basketball like that, and I know with 11 seconds left, down 1, with a chance to tie the ball game, you call timeout in that situation. You draw up a play so everyone's on the same page, and from there, you move forward. They play tonight, though, away against the Clippers, which I like. Nice 10:30 game, a little bit later, laying in bed, just watch the game. It's going to be a good time, for sure. But something I forgot to mention with the college hoops, by the way. Indiana got their coach from Dayton, Arizona's coach's brother, Archie Miller. And in his debut with Indiana, which, is a high praised college basketball town, and they love their college hoops, they lose 90-69 to Indiana State. That is not a great start. I have faith in that coach. He did a great job at Dayton, which is a smaller school, who continued to make the tournament. I get it. You're a new coach. You're going to a big time school now. You got to work on your recruiting. It's a little bit different. You're probably working with getting more talent than you're used to, because now you're in a conference like the Big Ten, and you have to compete with other Big Ten teams, Michigan, Michigan State, all these top 10 teams in the country. So you got to work on getting higher level recruits than you probably would at Dayton. It's going to take some time. They come back and win their next game, so at this point they're 1-1. But that was a really huge game. I mean, 90-69 to an Indiana State team at home for your first game. That's tough to see. And obviously Hugh Nuge, because it's the Ball family, but LiAngelo Ball and 2 other UCLA students gets charged with theft when they were in China for their first game. Don't know too much on the story other than they have to stay in China for a house arrest for a couple weeks to a month to figure out the situation. They are not allowed to leave the country until they figure this out. So clearly something going on there. I don't know what he's doing. Stealing stuff. I mean, they clearly haven't a lot of money. Maybe it was one teammate was stealing something and the other 2 were with them. They all got in trouble. Don't really know too much details about it yet, but apparently they were stealing designer stuff. So there was a mall, and they went in there and tried to just steal stuff. I don't know what goes through their minds, why they would ever think that would be a great idea. Makes no sense to me. And yeah, that is where we are here for this episode of Sports Talk with Brodes. Also, speaking of the Ball family, Lonzo Ball, youngest player ever to record a triple-double, younger than LeBron was. And after the game, he was asked about it, and you know what he said? We lost, so it doesn't even matter. And their head coach was talking about, hey, he probably loves it. You should ask him. And then they cut to him, and that's when he was saying, I'm upset because we lost. And that's the right answer. I like that. That's a great mentality. Who cares that I got a triple-double very young? We lost the game. I expected Lonzo Ball to be a little bit better coming out of the gate than he was. In college, he could shoot the basketball. He is clearly struggling to shoot the basketball. Now, I don't know if that's a confidence issue, if that's the defenders are way quicker, way longer in this league. Clearly they are. And I don't know, I just expect him to have a little bit more of an impact in the shooting department. He can clearly pass the basketball. And to end it with the NBA topic, LeBron James facing Dennis Smith Jr. and the Mavericks. They get a dub, and one of the things he mentioned was, wow, the Knicks clearly screwed up by not drafting Dennis Smith Jr. Now, he was somebody that we thought was a little too high for where we were in the draft, which makes a lot of sense, but he's very, very solid. He's definitely making some noise around this league. His athleticism is crazy, and it's hard to sit here and say Markelle Fultz was the best pick at the time. I understand he's going through injury, and we will see how it turns out. Other Sixers players like Ben Simmons and Embiid who have sat out clearly came back playing, ready to go. We're just going to have to wait and see. It just sucks that it's not available at this time to watch Markelle Fultz. It sucks to see. It's a key piece to this process, so you would say. With that being said, though, I am going to end this episode here. Thank you so much for listening. I will have more videos, keep going, more podcasts, continuing to grow. Thank you so much. And if you haven't already, follow me on Twitter at SportsandBrodes, or you can call into the show using your voice recording app. Send in a sports point, anything you want. We can discuss it. It's sports related. And yeah, thank you guys so much. Have a great one.